My beloved, you have been living in the shadow of a wall. It rose up in your life, perhaps slowly at first, perhaps all at once. But it is now your entire horizon. It is a wall of impossibility, its face sheer and smooth, with no handholds for you to climb. For you, this wall may be a sickness that will not yield, a financial crisis that has no solution, a relationship that is broken beyond repair, or a deep, spiritual darkness that has resisted every prayer, whatever its name. Its nature is the same. It is the unbreachable barrier that stands between the life you are living and the life you have longed for. And you have fought against it. Oh, my child, how you have fought. With the last reserves of your own strength, you have pushed against it until your shoulders ached. With the tools of your human intellect, you have searched for a crack, a flaw, a secret weakness, but have found none. You have shouted at it, your voice filled with a mixture of desperate faith and raw anger, until you were hoarse. You have clawed at its stony face until your fingers were raw and bloody. And now you're tired. A deep, soul-crushing weariness has set in. You're slumped at the base of the wall, the shadow of its impossibility chilling you to the bone. And the voices, both outside and in, have begun to speak their verdict. It's impossible. They say, give up. This is your new reality. Learn to live with the wall. And your own heart, exhausted from the fight, has begun to agree. The wall is no longer just an obstacle in your life. It has become the definition of your life. You have looked at this unbreachable barrier, and you have seen it as the final word. You have seen it as the evidence of my absence or my powerlessness. But you have been trying to demolish a mountain with your bare hands. You have mistaken the stage for the final act. For where you see an unbridgeable barrier, I see the perfect, dark backdrop against which I am about to display the brilliant, explosive light of my glory. You see an ending. I see a setup. For the breakthrough you have waited for is coming. To understand the glory of the breakthrough, we must first honor the agony of being walled in. I have not been a distant spectator to your struggle. I have seen every ounce of effort you have expended, and I have collected every tear of your frustration. Let me speak of the life you have been living in the shadow of this wall. It has shrunk your world before the wall rose up. Your horizon was wide with possibility, but now your entire existence has been oriented around the single, massive problem. Your thoughts in the morning are about the wall. Your conversations are about the wall. Your prayers are petitions to remove the wall. It has consumed your vision, making you forget the vast, open skies that still exist above it, and the solid ground that is still beneath you. To live before a great wall is to live in a perpetual state of confinement, even if there are no other walls around you. This life has also taken a profound emotional toll. You have been living in a cruel cycle of hope and despair. You would hear a message of faith, and a surge of new hope would rise in you. You would get up, dust yourself off, and launch another assault on the wall, convinced that this time it would be different. You would try a new strategy, a new prayer, a new approach. And when the wall still stood, unmoved and mocking, the hope would drain from you, leaving a despair that was even deeper and more bitter than before. This cycle has broken your heart again and again. It has taught you the deep sickness of hope deferred, and has sown in your soul the poisonous seeds of cynicism, the belief that it is safer not to hope at all than to be disappointed one more time. And this has created a deep spiritual confusion. You have looked at the wall and you have asked the hard questions. My God, why have you allowed this? I have tried to be faithful. I have prayed. I have believed. Why would you not answer me? Why would you not move this mountain? In my silence, you have felt not just disappointment, but a profound spiritual abandonment. You have wondered if you have some secret sin, some hidden flaw that has caused me to build this wall around you. You have felt trapped, not just by your circumstances, but by a God who seems indifferent to your plight. I have seen it all, and I have honored your struggle. Let me now validate the efforts you have made, and for you have fought with all the strength and wisdom you possessed. You tried to break through with the effort of human strength. You believed that if you just worked harder, pushed longer, and refused to give up, your sheer willpower would eventually erode the stone. This is the way of the world, and it is an honorable, but ultimately futile effort. You have learned a valuable and painful lesson that there are some walls in this life that are completely impervious to the force of human will. Your strength, though admirable, was never going to be enough. You tried to break through with the effort of human intellect. You strategized. You analyzed. You researched every possible solution. You sought the counsel of wise men and women. You tried to find a clever way around the wall, a secret passage through it, or a logical argument that would dismantle it. You believed that if you could just understand the problem perfectly, you could solve it. But you have learned that there are some problems in this life for which there is no human solution. This wall was not a riddle to be solved. It was a mountain to be moved. Your intellect, though a gift from me, was not the right tool for this job. You tried to break through with the effort of human connection. You gathered your friends, your family, your community. You asked them to push with you, to pray for you, and for a time, their support was a great comfort. But you soon discovered that they too were powerless before your wall. They could offer you sympathy, but they could not offer you a breakthrough. This was a lonely and important lesson that there are some battles that you must face alone with me, so that when the victory comes, there will be no doubt as to who the victor truly is. And you tried to break through with the effort of religious works. When all else failed, you turned to religious bargaining. You prayed more. You fasted longer. You served more diligently. You tried to be good enough to earn your breakthrough. You began to treat me not as a loving father, but as a divine transaction machine, believing that if you just inserted enough good deeds, I would be obligated to dispense your miracle. But the wall remained. And this has been perhaps the most confusing lesson of all, that your breakthrough is not a wage to be earned, but a gift of grace to be received. And so, here you are, at the end of all your efforts. You have exhausted your own strength, your own intellect, your own connections, and your own righteousness. You are sitting at the base of the wall, and for the first time, you have truly and completely given up. You have looked at the unbreachable barrier and you have finally whispered the words that your soul has been fighting against for so long. It is impossible. I can't. And all of heaven has held its breath for this. My child, this is not the moment of your defeat. This is the moment of your deliverance. Your surrender is not an admission of your failure. It is the glorious and holy invitation for my power to begin. As long as you were still pushing, still clawing, still trying, my hands were tied. You were insisting on fighting a battle that was never yours to fight. But now, in your beautiful, broken, and complete surrender, you have finally stepped aside. You have cleared the battlefield, and you have created the space for the captain of the heavenly hosts to enter the fray. The wall you have been facing was never just a random obstacle. It has had a divine purpose. It has been a holy boundary, a merciful dead end that has stopped you from continuing down a path that was leading you away from your true destiny. It has been a sacred classroom, a place where you have been forced to learn the profound and necessary lessons of humility, of dependence, and of the utter insufficiency of all human effort. And it has been a strategic delay, a divine holding pattern that has kept you in a safe place while I have been behind the scenes, preparing the new territory on the other side of the wall for your arrival. So I say to you now, you who are weary and heavy laden, your work is finished. Your striving is over. You have done all that you can do. Now, I want you to do the one thing you have not yet tried. Be still, and cease from your own labors. Be still, and lift your eyes from your bloody hands and your broken tools. Be still, and stop looking at the wall. Look at me. The battle for the breakthrough was never your responsibility. The power to move this mountain has never resided in your hands. It has always resided in mine, and the long winter of your waiting is now coming to an end. The silence is about to be broken, not by the sound of your weeping, but by the sound of a trumpet. The ground beneath you is about to shake, not from the tremors of an earthquake of destruction, but from the marching feet of the armies of heaven. The breakthrough you have waited for is not just possible. It is imminent. You are sitting now in the holy stillness of your own surrender, at the foot of the great and unbreachable wall. You have ceased from your own labors. You have laid down your broken tools, and in the quiet, you have turned your face toward me. This is the posture of all true victory. For you have finally understood that the battle for the breakthrough is not yours to fight. But as you rest in this new and fragile peace, I must pull back a curtain for you. I must open your eyes to a reality you have not yet seen. All this time, your attention has been consumed by the wall. It has been your focus, your adversary, your entire reality. You believed that your great struggle was a battle between you and that wall of stone. But my child, the wall was never the true enemy. The wall was merely the symptom. It was the physical barricade on the front lines of a much deeper, much more significant, and completely invisible war. While you were exhausting yourself in a futile, head-on assault against the visible fortification, I, your king and your commander, was engaged in a vast, strategic, and covert war on your behalf in the unseen realm. You thought you were alone on the battlefield. The truth is, you are merely the forward observer in a war being waged by the entire host of heaven. With you as its focus, the reason your breakthrough has not yet come is not because the wall is too strong, but because the unseen battle had to be won first. And I am here to announce to you today that this hidden war is now complete. The victory has been secured. Let me reveal to you the nature of this unseen battle for your breakthrough. For in understanding it, you will understand the depth of my love and the meticulous nature of my power. First, while you were pushing against the wall, I was cutting the enemy's supply lines. The wall of impossibility that you faced was not self-sustaining. It was being built, maintained, and reinforced by spiritual forces. The wall of your financial lack was being supplied by a spiritual current of fear and hopelessness. The wall of your sickness was being reinforced by generational spirits of infirmity and by a cloud of negative, faithless words. The wall of your broken relationship was being constantly repaired by the spirits of bitterness, unforgiveness, and accusation. You were fighting the bricks while I was fighting the bricklayers. While you were focused on the front line, I had dispatched my angelic special forces to go deep behind enemy lines. They have been on a search and destroy mission. They have been cutting off the supply of fear that has been fueling your anxiety. They have been intercepting the shipments of lies that the accuser has been sending to your mind. They have been dismantling the spiritual pipelines of lack that have kept your life in a state of drought. This was a long and arduous campaign. You did not feel it. You did not see it. All you felt was the unyielding reality of the wall. But in the unseen realm, a great and strategic victory has been won. The wall before you is now a cut-off fortress. It is isolated from its source of reinforcement, and it may still look as strong as it did yesterday, but its foundations have been fatally weakened because its supply lines have been cut. Next, while you were trying to find a crack in the wall, I was patiently dismantling the enemy's strongholds. A physical wall is often supported by great, hidden fortresses. The wall you faced was reinforced by spiritual strongholds, deeply ingrained lies that you, and perhaps generations before you, had believed. The lie that our family is always sick. The lie that I will never be good enough. The lie that God has abandoned me. The lie that this situation is hopeless. These strongholds of the mind are the true anchors of the wall of impossibility, and they cannot be knocked down with a physical battering ram. They must be dismantled, lie by lie, with the persistent, penetrating power of my truth. Every time you chose to worship me in the midst of your pain, a stone was loosened from that stronghold. Every time you chose to believe my promise over your feelings, a crack appeared in its foundation. And while you were engaged in this difficult work of faith, I was at work as the divine siege engineer. I was placing charges of divine revelation at the base of these lies. I was bombarding them with my truth. My spirit was at work in your heart, showing you the lies you had partnered with, leading you to renounce them. This process was slow and often painful. It involved you facing some deep and ugly truths about your own unbelief. But with every lie that was dismantled, The wall in your physical reality lost a piece of its spiritual reinforcement. The outer wall cannot stand for long when the inner fortresses that support it are turning to dust. Furthermore, while you felt you were fighting alone, I had dispatched legions of my angels to be your unseen reinforcements. You have been surrounded by a heavenly host, a ministering army sent to serve you, the heir of salvation. There were angels who were assigned to be your protectors. They stood guard over you while you slept, warding off nightmares and demonic attacks that would have shattered your mind. They were the unseen bodyguards who protected you from accidents and coincidences that were, in fact, targeted assaults from the enemy. There were angels who were assigned to be your strengtheners. In your moments of deepest exhaustion, when you thought you could not go on, it was often the touch of an angel's hand upon your spirit that gave you the mysterious ability to get up and face another day. And there were warring angels, mighty and terrible in their glory, who were waging an active, offensive war against the specific demonic principalities that were assigned to your case. The heaviness you have felt, the oppressive spiritual atmosphere that was the fallout from a war of titans being fought in the heavenlies over your destiny. You were not abandoned on the battlefield. You were the very treasure that the greatest armies of heaven were fighting to protect and to liberate. And perhaps most importantly, the greatest battle was being fought not on a physical field, but in a heavenly courtroom. While you were fighting your circumstance, I was standing as your high priest and your advocate, pleading your case before the throne of heavenly justice. The accuser was there day and night, presenting the evidence of your failures, your sins, and your weaknesses. He was presenting his legal right to build this wall in your life, and I did not deny the evidence. I simply presented a greater evidence. I presented the evidence of my own blood, shed for you, which trumps every accusation of the enemy. I presented the evidence of my promises to you, which are an unbreakable covenant. I argued your case, not based on your merit, but based on my righteousness. And I'm telling you today that the verdict has been rendered. The case has been won. The legal victory in the spirit realm has been secured. The accuser has been silenced. His legal right to maintain that wall has been revoked by the highest court in the universe. Why was this great battle hidden from you? I could have shown you the armies of angels. I could have let you hear the arguments in the heavenly court, but I did not. And I did this for your sake. I hid the full extent of the battle from you to protect you. If you had seen the full demonic horror that was arrayed against you, your heart would have failed from fear. I allowed you to see only the wall, a manageable, physical representation of the battle, to protect your sanity and to keep your task simple, to simply trust me. I also hid the battle from you to teach you where the real fight is. Your years of fruitless effort, of beating against the physical wall, were a necessary and powerful lesson. They were designed to teach you, in a way that no book or sermon ever could, that we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. You had to learn the futility of fighting in the natural so that you could learn to engage in the power of the spiritual. And I hid the battle from you because of the very nature of spiritual warfare. The greatest victories in my kingdom are often won not in a noisy, fiery explosion, but in the quiet, persistent, and unseen work of dismantling lies, of cutting off supply lines, and of presenting a legal case. It is a war of attrition, of endurance, and of strategic, hidden movements. So I want you to look back now at this long season of your struggle. You have seen it as a time of your own failure, of my inactivity, of a hopeless and static stalemate. But it has been none of those things. It has been a season of the most intense, the most strategic, and the most vital spiritual warfare. And while you were engaged in your small, visible, and fruitless fight, I, your king, have been engaged in a vast, invisible, and utterly victorious campaign. The unseen battle is now over. The enemy's supply lines are in ruins. His inner fortresses have been turned to dust. The angelic armies are in position. And the legal verdict from the throne of heaven has been issued. Everything in the unseen realm is now perfectly aligned for your breakthrough. All that remains is for the manifestation of this great victory to break through into the physical realm. All that remains is for the wall, which now stands only by the memory of its old strength, to finally come crashing down. You are standing now in the revelation of the unseen war. Your eyes have been opened to the great, strategic, and victorious battle that I have been waging on your behalf while you stood, weary and frustrated, before the visible wall. You understand now that your breakthrough was not being withheld, but was being won in a different dimension, a realm of spiritual authority and power. The legal victory has been secured. The enemy's hidden fortresses have been turned to dust. But even with this glorious knowledge, I know the question that still troubles your heart. It is the question that every soldier asks in the midst of a long and difficult campaign. My commander, my king, I believe you have been fighting for me, but why has it taken so long if the victory was assured in the heavenlies? Why have you allowed such a long, painful, and humiliating siege on the earth? Why have I been left here for months, for years, staring at this unmoving wall, feeling the slow drain of my hope and my strength? This is the question of the delay, the question of the waiting. And the answer will reveal to you the profound depth of my wisdom and the meticulous nature of my love. For you have seen the delay as a period of my inaction. But the truth is, the long and difficult siege has been a period of my most intensive and focused action, not just for you in the unseen realm, but in you in the visible one. My child, the delay was not a denial, it was your divine training ground. The long season of being hemmed in by the wall, of being under the constant pressure of your circumstances, has had a dual purpose. It has been a strategy to contain and weaken the enemy, and it has been a holy curriculum to commission and strengthen you. You have seen the siege as your prison. I have seen it as your military academy. I could have granted you a quick, easy victory long ago, but a quick victory would have produced a weak soldier, unprepared for the vast new territory I'm about to give you. I love you too much to give you a victory that you are not yet prepared to steward. The long siege was not a sign of my reluctance. It was a sign of the greatness of the destiny on the other side of the wall. Let me open for you now the course catalog of this Academy of the Siege and show you the priceless lessons you have been learning. The first and most foundational course you have been enrolled in is Endurance 101. In a world that prizes instant results and quick fixes, I have been teaching you the ancient and holy art of endurance. A quick breakthrough would have taught you about my power. A long siege has taught you about my faithfulness, and it has forged within you a spiritual stamina, a holy resilience that you could have gained in no other way. Day after day, you have woken up to the same wall, the same impossible problem, and day after day, you have had to make a choice to give into despair or to get up and believe one more time. Every day you chose to get up. Every day you chose to hold on to the slenderest thread of hope. You are adding another layer of muscle to your spirit. And this is the strength that is built not in a single dramatic moment, but in the thousand small, uncelebrated, and obedient choices of a long obedience in the same direction. The world is full of sprinters, those whose faith is strong for a short burst, but who collapse in a long-distance race. I am training you to be a marathon runner. The siege has been your high-altitude training. It has been difficult. It has been painful. You have often felt out of breath. But I have been expanding your spiritual lung capacity. I have been strengthening your heart. I have been teaching you to run with a patience and a perseverance that will enable you to finish the great race I have set before you. You have not been stuck. You have been in training. The second course in this academy has been Faith 2.0 Beyond Formulas. You entered this siege with a simple and perhaps even naive faith. It was a faith in formulas. If I do A and B, then God will do C. It was a faith in a quick fix, a faith in a miraculous event. And when the quick fix did not come, when the formula did not work, that simple faith was shattered, and you thought this shattering was the death of your faith. No, my child, it was the death of your superstition. It was the necessary demolition of a weak and childish faith to make way for a mature and powerful one. The long delay has been a divine crucible, designed to burn away all the impurities from your faith. It has burned away your faith in your own righteousness. It has burned away your faith in your own understanding. And it has burned away your faith in me as a mere cosmic vending machine. What has been left is a faith that is poor, profound, and powerful. You are learning now to place your faith not in a specific outcome, not in a specific timeline, but in the unshakable reality of my character. You are learning to trust that I am good, even when your circumstances are bad. You are learning to trust that I am wise, even when my plan makes no sense to you. This is the faith of Abraham, of Job, of the heroes of old. It is a faith that can stand in the middle of a mystery and still say, though you slay me, yet I will trust you. The siege did not destroy your faith. It purified it. It has given you a faith of tempered steel, a faith that can now be trusted with the weight of a great victory. The third course in this curriculum has been the advanced study of worship in the wasteland. Before the siege, Your worship was primarily the worship of celebration. You praised me for the good things, for the answered prayers, for the blessings you could see. This is a good and beautiful worship. But I have been calling you to a deeper, more powerful form of praise. In the long, desolate season of the siege, when your circumstances gave you no reason to praise, you have had to learn a new kind of song. It is a worship of sacrifice. It is a praise that is offered, not because of the blessing, but in the absence of the blessing. It is a decision to lift your hands and your voice to me from within the prison walls, from the shadow of the unmoving wall. Every time you have chosen to thank me when you felt no thankfulness. Every time you have chosen to sing of my goodness when your heart was breaking. You were not just performing a religious duty. You were engaging in the highest level of spiritual warfare. This is the worship that confuses the enemy. This is the praise that shakes the foundations of the prisons. Your sacrificial praise in the midst of the siege has been a sweet, powerful, and fragrant offering to me. And it has been a declaration of war against the kingdom of darkness. You have learned a song in the night, a song of such profound power that it will be your anthem for all the battles to come. And finally, the siege has been a masterclass in the forging of identity. Before this trial, your identity was tied to many things, to your career, to your relationships, to your successes, to your own strength. The long siege has been a divine stripping process. One by one, I have lovingly, though painfully, removed these false sources of identity from you. The career stalled, the relationships were strained, the success is faded, your own strength failed. And in that stripped and empty place, and with nothing left to define you, you were forced to find your identity in one thing, and one thing alone, in the simple, profound, and unshakable truth that you are my beloved child. Your only identity in the siege has been the one who waits on God. And I tell you, there's no more powerful or more secure identity in all the universe. Why was this rigorous training so necessary? Because the territory on the other side of that wall, the land of your breakthrough, is a land that requires a different kind of leader. It is a land of great responsibility, and it requires a person of great endurance. It is a land that will have its own new set of challenges, and it requires a person of mature and tested faith. It is a land of great blessing, and that blessing could have easily produced pride in a heart that had not been thoroughly humbled through the long lesson of sacrificial worship. You had to be made ready, not just for the breakthrough, but for the weight of the blessing that the breakthrough will release. The enemy, in his foolishness, has overplayed his hand. He thought the long siege would wear you down. He thought it would cause you to grow bitter, to curse me, to give up. But his strategy has backfired. By keeping you under this intense pressure for so long, he has been an unwitting participant in my divine training program. The very siege that was designed to break you has been the very thing that has made you. You are not emerging from this weaker. You are emerging as a seasoned, disciplined, battle-tested veteran of my army. So I invite you now to look back at the long, frustrating years of waiting with new eyes. Do not see them as a waste of time. Do not see them as a sign of my displeasure. See them with the reverence of a graduate looking back at their most challenging and formative season of education. It was your boot camp. It was your wilderness training. It was your crucible. And it has been successful. Your training is now complete. The lessons I know have been learned. The character has been forged. You are no longer a raw recruit, full of untested enthusiasm. You are a seasoned warrior, full of quiet strength and profound wisdom. You are now fully prepared, not just for the glorious moment of the breakthrough, but for the great and lasting purpose that lies on the other side. You have graduated from the Academy of the Siege. My beloved and battle-tested soldier, your training is complete. You have been forged in the fires of endurance, purified by the long wait, and stripped of all reliance on your own strength. You stand now before the wall, no longer as a desperate victim, but as a seasoned veteran, clothed in the quiet dignity of one who has learned to trust their commander in the darkest of nights. But a soldier's training is not an end in itself. A warrior is not forged to remain forever within the barracks. You have been prepared for a purpose. You have been trained for a moment. And I say to you today, with all the authority of the God who commands the armies of heaven, that moment has now arrived. The long season of your patient, hidden endurance is now giving way to the glorious season of my powerful, public demonstration. The time for you to fight is over. The time for you to stand still and watch me fight for you has come. The silence in the heavens has been broken. The strategic, unseen war is finished. And now, the overt, physical manifestation of the victory I have already won is about to break forth into your reality. Listen, in the quiet of your spirit. Listen. Can you hear it? It is a new sound, a sound you have not heard in a very long time. It is not the sound of your own weeping. It is not the sound of the enemy's mocking taunts. It is a sound that begins deep in the heart of heaven. It is the sound of a single, clear, and powerful trumpet blast. This is not a human instrument. It is the sound of my divine announcement. It is a trumpet of jubilee, signaling the release of the captives. It is a trumpet of the coronation, announcing that a new authority is taking its place. It is a trumpet of war, the signal for the armies of heaven to advance, to the forces of darkness that have laid siege to your life. This sound is a terrifying death knell. It is the sound of their defeat. But to you, my child, who have waited so long in the silence, this sound is the sweetest music you have ever heard. It is the sound of your King, finally and openly coming to your defense. It is the sound of your breakthrough beginning. And with the sound comes a new feeling. Feel it now in the very ground beneath your feet. A low, deep, and powerful tremor is beginning. It is not the chaotic shaking of a destructive earthquake. It is a rhythmic, resonant shaking of a divine power, a holy vibration that is emanating from the very throne of God. You have been standing before a wall that has seemed so solid, so permanent, so unshakable. But I am here to announce that I, the Lord your God, am now shaking everything that can be shaken, and the foundations of your wall. The very things that have made it seem so strong are beginning to be shaken. I am shaking the foundation of the enemy's legal right, a right that has been nullified by the blood of my Son. I am shaking the foundation of the lies you have believed, a foundation that is now crumbling under the weight of the truth I have been showing you. I am shaking the foundation of the world's wisdom, the logic that declared your situation to be impossible. I am shaking the very ground upon which your problem stands, and that which has been built on a faulty, ungodly foundation cannot remain standing when the God of all creation begins to shake the earth. And now, look at the wall that has been the symbol of your despair, the unmoving monument to your hopeless situation. Look closely. At first, it is almost imperceptible, a tiny hairline fracture, a place where the mortar seems to have shifted. But it is there, for the first time, after all these years of staring at an unbroken surface. You see it. The first crack has appeared. This is the sign. This is the first drop of rain after a long drought. It is the first green shoot to break through the frozen winter ground. It is the first visible evidence of the unseen victory that has already been won. Your hope was not in vain. Your waiting was not for nothing. Your faith, as small as it has been the very thing that has targeted my power. The wall that seems so permanent is not permanent. It is not unbreachable. At the sound of my voice and the shaking of my power, it is beginning to come apart. Now, you must understand the nature of my breakthroughs, for they are often not what you expect. You have been praying for me to send a great explosion, a divine demolition charge that would pulverize the entire wall into dust. And sometimes, that is my way. But often, my methods are more subtle, more strategic, and more beautiful. Sometimes, my breakthrough is not a demolition, but a door. Instead of destroying the entire wall, I will cause a perfect, arch-shaped gateway to appear in its midst. I will take the very obstacle that blocked you, and I will turn it into your entrance. This is my redemptive nature. I do not always annihilate the problem. I often transform it into the very passage to your promotion. You will walk through the very thing that was once your prison, but you will walk through it now as a conqueror. And my breakthrough often comes from in an unexpected direction. You have been focusing all your energy on the front of the wall, the most obvious point of opposition. But while you have been distracted there, I have been at work on a different front. My breakthrough may come from the side, a sudden opportunity from a place you never considered. It may come from behind you, a person from your past whom I have prepared to come and help you. It may even come from within you, a sudden surge of divine creativity or courage that gives you the ability to do what you could not do before. Do not be so focused on the way you think the breakthrough should come that you miss the surprising, creative, and wonderful way I am actually bringing it to pass. And your faith, your endurance, your sacrificial worship in the season of the siege, these have not been passive acts. They have been your active participation in the battle. Your praises have been the spiritual battering rams that have been weakening the wall from the inside. Your prayers have been the divine intelligence that has guided the targeting of my angelic armies. Your endurance has been the very thing that has held the ground until my reinforcements could arrive. I have not done this without you. We have done this together. I have fought the great, heavenly battle, and you have fought the difficult, earthly battle of faith. And now, our victories are converging at this one glorious point in time. What is happening now in the enemy's camp? There's panic. There's chaos. The spiritual forces that stood so arrogantly behind that wall, so confident in its strength, are now in utter disarray. Or they hear the trumpet of your king. They feel the shaking of the foundations. They see the crack of light appearing in their dark fortress. And they know their time is up. They know that they cannot withstand a direct, overt assault from the manifest power of the living God. Their siege is broken. Their defenses are crumbling. They are in a state of full retreat. And what of the human critics, the ones who told you to give up? They will see the breakthrough beginning, and they will not understand it. They will see the sudden, inexplicable shift in your circumstances. They will see the door opening where there was no door. They will see you walking into a new season of favor and fruitfulness, and they will try to explain it away. They will call it luck. They will call it a coincidence. They will call it an anomaly. But in the quiet of their own hearts, they will feel the tremor of a power they cannot explain. They will witness a miracle that defies their cynical logic. Your life, your breakthrough, will become a stone in their shoe, a divine question mark in their ordered, godless world. So here we are, my child, at the moment of the turning. The long night of the siege is over. The dawn of your liberation is at hand. The trumpet has sounded. The foundations are shaking. The wall is cracking. I have one command for you in this moment. It is the same command I gave to my people before the great wall of Jericho and before the mighty waters of the Red Sea. Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. Your work is done. Your part now is not to push, not to strive, not to help me. Your part is to stand, to watch, and to be ready. Get up from the dust of your despair. Put on your garments of praise, for the wall of your impossibility is about to become the monument to my power. The prison of your long waiting is about to become the gateway to your promised land. The breakthrough you have waited for is not just coming. It is here. The trumpet has sounded. The foundations have been shaken. And the great, unbreachable wall that has defined your existence for so long has come crashing down. The air is thick with the dust of its demolition. The sound of its collapse is still echoing in the heavens. A profound and holy silence now stands in the place where there was once an insurmountable barrier, and before you, where there was only stone, there's now an opening, a breach, a gateway into a new and unknown world. You stand in awe, your heart a mixture of exhilaration and terror. The miracle you have prayed for, the breakthrough you have so long awaited, has happened. The thing that seemed impossible has been done. But as the dust begins to settle, a new and daunting reality presents itself. The wall's gone. But now you must walk through the rubble. The prison has been broken. But now you must step out into the frightening freedom of an open field. The victory has been won for you. But the new land must be possessed by you. And I, your commander, who know the heart of a soldier, I see the hesitation in your spirit. A lifetime of living under siege has trained you in a certain way of being. And though the siege is now broken, the mindset of the besieged can remain. You have prayed for the wall to fall, but now that it has, you find yourself almost missing its strange, familiar presence. It was your prison, but it was a known prison. This new land, this open territory, is a frightening unknown. And so you ask, my Lord, the way is open, but how do I walk it? How do I step into this new territory when my soul still feels like a prisoner? This is the great and often overlooked challenge of the breakthrough. For it is one thing to witness my power demolish a barrier. It is another thing to have the courage to walk through that breach and possess the land that has been won. Many of my children pray for the walls to fall, but when they do, they remain camped in the rubble of their old life, too afraid to step into the new. Today, my beloved, we will address this. I will teach you how to leave the siege mentality behind and how to walk through the breach into your new territory. First, we must be honest about the habits of the old life, the siege mentality that still clings to you like the dust of the fallen wall. You have been conditioned to a defensive posture. For years, your primary focus has been on survival, on protecting yourself from the next blow, the next disappointment. Your spiritual muscles are trained for hunkering down, for bracing for impact. But the posture of a defender is not the posture of a conqueror. To possess a new land, you must move from a defensive crouch to a forward-leaning stance of advance. You have also been conditioned to a scarcity mindset. In a city under siege, resources are strictly rationed. You have learned to live on the bare minimum. You have learned to expect lack. You have learned to make yourself small, to not ask for too much, to simply be grateful for surviving another day. This mindset was a necessary survival tool for the siege. But if you carry it into the land of promise, it will become a prison of its own. It will prevent you from enjoying the abundance I have prepared for you. And there is a strange phenomenon that happens to long-term prisoners. They can develop an attachment to their prison. They have lived for so long with the wall that they have, in a strange way, made peace with it. The wall has been their great enemy, but it has also been their great excuse. It has defined their life. And now that it is gone, they can feel a strange sense of loss, a fear of the open space. You must be on guard against this subtle temptation to rebuild a wall in your own mind, to prefer the familiar misery of the siege to the frightening freedom of the new land. And now that the wall is down, you may see new challenges on the horizon. The new listener has its own terrain, its own battles to be fought, and the enemy will try to whisper to you, see, you have escaped one prison only to find a new land full of giants. You are not strong enough for this. It is better to stay here in the safety of the rubble. This is the fear that caused an entire generation of my people to die in the wilderness, on the very border of their promised land. We will not let that be your story. So how do you overcome this siege mentality and step into your inheritance? You must learn the ways of a conqueror, the mindset of an heir. The first and most important action is the practice of bold advancement. You must make a conscious choice to walk through the breach. This is an act of your will, empowered by my spirit. It means you must stop looking back at the familiar ruins of your old life. The grief for what was lost has been honored, but now is not the time for mourning. It is the time for marching. I am calling you to lift your eyes from the rubble at your feet, to fix your gaze on the new territory before you, and to put one foot in front of the other. This first step through the breach is a powerful, prophetic act. It is a declaration to your own soul and to the spiritual realm that you are leaving the past behind. You are breaking your agreement with the identity of the besieged one. You are stepping out of the story of your struggle and into the story of your inheritance. Next, you must intentionally leave the rations behind. In the siege, you survived on the manna of my daily, just enough grace. But this new territory is not a wilderness. It is a land flowing with milk and honey. It is a land of abundance. The scarcity mindset must be crucified. How do you do this? You do it by acting like you are in a land of plenty. You must begin to dream bigger dreams. You must pray bolder prayers. And you must practice a new, radical generosity. The first act of a true conqueror in a new land is not to hoard the spoils, but to offer a tithe, a first fruit offering, back to the king who gave them the victory. Your generosity will be the sign that you truly believe you have left the land of lack and have entered the land of more than enough. When you begin to give freely from the first fruits of your breakthrough, the scarcity mindset will begin to lose its grip on your soul. Then you must put on a new garment. You cannot walk into your new life as a royal heir wearing the dusty, the torn, and smoke-stained clothes of a siege survivor. There must be a change of identity, and that must be reflected in how you carry yourself. This is a spiritual act in the quiet of your heart. I want you to consciously take off the old garment of your victimhood. Take off the spirit of heaviness, and I want you to receive from me the new garment I have for you. It is the robe of a conqueror, the mantle of an heir. It is a garment of praise. To put on this new garment is to change your internal posture. It is to stand up straight. It is to lift your head. It is to begin to carry yourself not as one who hopes for a victory, but as one who is walking in a victory that has already been won. And you must be ready to face the new challenges with my power. I will not lie to you. The new land has its own challenges. There will be new battles to be fought. But the crucial difference is this: you are not the same soldier who was cowering before the wall. The siege has trained you. It has given you endurance. It has forged in you a faith of tempered steel. And most importantly, it has taught you that your strength is not your own. So when you face a giant in this new land, you will not face it with your old, failed, human strength. You will face it with the new, divine strength that you discovered in your weakness. You will look at the giant and you will say, "You may be bigger than me, but you are not bigger than the God who lives in me. The God who brought down the unbreachable wall can surely handle you." The challenges in the new land are not there to defeat you. They are there to give you an opportunity to demonstrate the new strength and authority you now walk in. And finally, you must understand that possessing the land is an action. The breakthrough has given you access, but it has not given you possession. Possession is something you must do. It means taking practical, tangible steps to occupy this new season of your life. If your breakthrough was financial, possessing the land means creating a new budget, a new plan for generosity, a new vision for the resources I have given you. If your breakthrough was in a relationship, possessing the land means establishing new, healthy patterns of communication and intimacy. If your breakthrough was in your calling, possessing the land means taking the first practical steps to build the ministry or the business I have shown you. Faith without works is dead. The breakthrough without the follow-through is a squandered miracle. I have opened the door. Now you must walk through it and begin to build your new home, to plant your new fields, to establish your life in this new territory. So I commission you today, my victorious child. The time for waiting is over. The time for possessing has begun. Leave the rubble of the past behind you. Do not look back. Shake the dust of the siege from your feet. Put on your new garment of praise and walk boldly through the breach that I have made for you. And know this, I am not a God who just breaks down the walls and then leaves you to fend for yourself. I am the God who goes before you into the new land. I will be your vanguard. I will drive out the enemies before you. I will lead you to the springs of water. The same God who was your breakthrough at the wall will be your guide in the land. The greatest adventure of your life is not behind you in the battle. It is before you, in the glorious, challenging, and abundant territory of your promised land. You have walked through the breach, my beloved conqueror. Your feet are standing on new ground. The dust of the old battle is behind you, and the air of your new territory is clean and full of promise. You are learning to walk with the bold, forward-leaning posture of an heir, leaving behind the defensive crouch of the besieged. You are possessing the land that I have won for you. But a conquered land that is not cultivated will soon return to the wilderness. A victory that is not stewarded will become a ruin. The glorious, wall-shattering moment of your breakthrough was not the end of the story. It was the end of the war and the beginning of a new and glorious work. It was the necessary demolition that cleared the ground for a brand new construction. You have known me as your divine warrior, the one who broke down the walls before you. Now, I invite you to know me in a new and more intimate way. I invite you to know me as the master architect, the divine co-builder. For the season of warfare is now giving way to the season of building. And I am inviting you to be my partner in this joyful, creative, and holy enterprise. I am not just giving you an empty piece of land. I am inviting you to build a new life with me upon it. The great promise of my kingdom is that unless the Lord builds a house, the laborers labor in vain. For years, in your old land, you labored in vain, trying to build a life of peace and security on a faulty foundation, with your own limited strength. But here, in this new land, we will build together, and the house that we build will be a house that can never be shaken. So how do we begin this new project? The first act of any wise builder is to survey the land. We must walk this new territory of your life together and discover its potential. The breakthrough has changed everything. The landscape of your life is new. There are resources here you have not yet discovered. There are opportunities you have not yet seen. So come, walk with me in the cool of this new day. Let us explore the potential of this new ground. See here, where there was once the barren rock of a broken relationship. The ground has been made soft and fertile by your tears and my grace. This is a place where garden, a profound intimacy, and trust can now be planted. See this new position of influence I have given you. It is a high place, a mountain, upon which we can build a watchtower of hope and a lighthouse of truth for others to see. See this new stream of financial provision. It is not just for your own needs. It is a river that we can divert to irrigate the dry and barren places in the lives of others. This season is a season of discovery. I am opening your eyes to the latent potential in your new circumstances, in your healed heart, in the gifts I am now activating in you. Your prayer is no longer the desperate cry of a prisoner, Lord, get me out of here. It is now the excited conversation of a partner with the architect, Father. What a glorious piece of land. What shall we build here? You and I, once we have surveyed the land, it is time to unroll the divine blueprint. I have a plan for what we will build here. It is a plan that I have had in my heart for you from before the foundation of the world. A plan that could only be enacted on the specific ground. In this specific season, after your specific breakthrough. This blueprint is not a rigid, legalistic set of instructions. It is a beautiful, grace-filled, and glorious vision for your life. You will receive this blueprint not all at once, but piece by piece, as we walk together in intimacy, in our quiet moments together. I will show you a vision for your family, a family built not on the broken patterns of your past, but on the grace and truth of my kingdom. I will give you a dream for your work, not just a job to earn a living, but a calling that will be a source of blessing and a platform for my glory. I will whisper to you my plans for a ministry that will flow from your healed wounds, a ministry that is custom designed for you. Your work now is to become a student of the blueprint, to spend time with the architect, to catch my vision for what we are building. This is the end of a small, self-made life and the beginning of a grand, co-created one. Every great structure needs a solid foundation, and so we will now lay the foundation for your new life. The foundation stones are the very lessons that you learn in the agony of the siege. They are the new principles that will govern everything we build from this day forward. We will lay the great foundation stone of trust. Upon this stone, every decision will be made. You will build a life where you no longer lean on your own understanding, but in all your ways, you acknowledge me. We will lay the foundation stone of surrender. Upon the stone, your relationship with your own will is rebuilt. You will build a life where your daily prayer is, not my will, but yours be done. We will lay the foundation stone of generosity. Upon the stone, your relationship with resources is transformed. You will build a life that is a channel, not a cul-de-sac, for my blessings. And we will lay the foundation stone of your true identity in me. Upon the stone, your sense of worth will be forever secured, not in what you do, but in whose you are. These are the stones upon which we will build. And as you learn to make these principles the foundational reflexive habits of your new life, you will be creating a structure that the storms of the future will not be able to shake. And then begins the joyful labor of the building itself. Do not think of this as a return to the old, wearying, striving. This is a new kind of work. It is the joyful, energetic, and grace-filled work of a co-creator, building alongside the master builder. Every act of obedience is a stone that you lay in the wall. Every prayer you pray is the mixing of the mortar. Every time you choose love over fear, you are raising the structure higher. Your daily life now becomes a construction site. Making a healthy meal for your family is the act of building a home of peace. Doing your work with excellence and integrity is the act of building a tower of testimony in your workplace. Forgiving someone who has wronged you is the act of building a bridge of reconciliation. You are no longer a passive observer of your life. You are an active participant in its construction. And I, the master builder, am with you. I am the one who gives you the strength to lift the stones. I am the one who ensures that the walls are straight. I am the one who provides all the materials. Your part is the joyful, faithful, day-by-day labor of partnership with me. And what is this house that we are building? It is a house of testimony. It is a life that will stand as a visible, tangible monument to my goodness and my redemptive power. We are building a home of peace. Your family life, your closest relationships will be rebuilt on the foundations of grace, becoming a sanctuary of safety and love in a broken world. We are building a garden of fruitfulness. Your work, your calling, will become a place that is no longer barren, but that produces a rich harvest of blessing that will nourish many. And we are building a watchtower of hope. Your life, so visibly marked by my miraculous intervention, will become a beacon on a hill, a lighthouse that will guide other lost and shipwrecked souls to the safety of my harbor. Of course, this building project will not be without its challenges. The enemy, who could not keep you imprisoned behind the wall, will now try to sabotage your construction project. He will send storms of doubt. He will try to create division among the workers. He will whisper lies that the project is too big, that you are not a capable builder. But do not be afraid, for I, the master builder, am also the site foreman and the head of security. I am on this construction site with you, 24 hours a day. My presence is a wall of fire around you. I am your provider of all materials, and I am the guarantor that this project, which I have designed and which we have begun together, will be brought to its glorious completion. So I invite you now to pick up your new tools. Lay down the sword you use in the battle. Pick up the trowel, the hammer, and the plumb line of the builder. The time for warfare has ended. The time for construction has begun. You are no longer a soldier fighting for survival. You are a creator building for a legacy. Look at the beautiful, open, and promise-filled land of your new beginning. It is waiting to be filled with the glory of the house that we will build together. You are a builder now, my beloved, standing on the new, solid ground of your conquered territory. You are learning the joyful art of co-creating your new life with me. The sword of the soldier has been exchanged for the trowel of the builder. The grim determination of the siege is being replaced by the joyful energy of construction. You are building a house of testimony, a garden of fruitfulness, a watchtower of hope. This is the glorious and purposeful work of your new beginning. But I, who know the landscape of the human heart, I know that even as you build, you sometimes glance nervously at the horizon. You wonder, what happens when a new wall appears? What happens when I encounter the next impossibility? Will I have to go through that agonizing, years-long siege all over again? Is this breakthrough just a temporary reprieve before the next great struggle? You fear that your new life is a fragile peace, a temporary victory that could be undone by the next great challenge. My child, you have been delivered from a prison, not just moved to a larger cell with a better view. The breakthrough you have experienced was not just a singular event. It was the establishment of a new pattern for your life. I am not the God of a one-time breakthrough. I am the God of all breakthrough. I am the one who goes before you to make the crooked places straight and to shatter the gates of bronze. The victory you have just witnessed was not an anomaly. It was your initiation into a new way of living. We must now speak of this, for I am calling you to move from the memory of a single breakthrough to a life of continual victory. The primary reason you can face the future without fear is that you are no longer the same person who was once terrified and powerless before the wall. The long siege that you endured was not a meaningless delay. It was your divine education, your spiritual boot camp, and you have graduated. Remember the training of the siege. You learned lessons in that long and difficult season that have now become a part of your very being. You learned the art of endurance, a spiritual stamina that cannot be taught in a book. You are no longer a raw recruit who panics at the first sign of battle. You are a seasoned veteran. You now know from experience that you can survive the long wait. You have a resilience that you did not possess before. You learned the lesson of a purified faith. Your old, simplistic faith in formulas was burned away, replaced by a deep and rugged faith in my character. You no longer need to see a clear path to believe I am with you. You have learned to trust me in the dark. This mature faith is now your greatest weapon. And you learn the holy art of sacrificial worship, the song of the night that shakes foundations. These lessons are now a permanent part of your spiritual arsenal. You are better equipped, more deeply trained, and more spiritually mature than you have ever been. You also now have the gift of divine intelligence. You have seen behind the curtain. You now know that the visible wall is never the true enemy. You understand that there is an unseen battle that is being fought and won in the spiritual realm. You are no longer an ignorant soldier fighting a war you do not understand. You are now a wise and discerning warrior. When a new wall of impossibility rises before you, you will not waste your energy in a fruitless, head-on assault. You will now know to turn to me, your commander, and to engage in the true battle, the battle of prayer, of faith, and of standing on the legal victory that has already been won. Your entire approach to adversity has been revolutionized. And most importantly of all, You now have a personal history with me as the breaker. Before, you knew of my power as a story in a book. You had read of the walls of Jericho falling. You had read of the Red Sea parting. But now, it is no longer just a story. It is your story. You have seen my power with your own eyes. You have stood on the ground that shook. You have walked through the breach that I made. This memory, this experience, is now the bedrock of your faith. When the next wall appears, the accuser will come and whisper the same old lies. It's impossible. God has forgotten you. But now, you will have an answer. You will be able to stand before that new wall, point back to the rubble of the old one, and declare with a new and unshakable authority, I will not fear, for the God who delivered me from that wall is more than able to deliver me from this one. I know my Redeemer lives, for I have seen his power in my own life. Your past breakthrough is the prophetic guarantee of your future victories. And there will be future walls. I must be honest with you about this. A life of purpose is a life of advancement. And to advance in my kingdom is to be a pioneer, pushing back the frontiers of darkness. And at the edge of every new territory, there's always a new wall, a new challenge, a new giant in the land. But I want you to reframe your understanding of these new walls. A new wall is not a sign that you have failed or that you have been abandoned. A new wall is a sign of your promotion. It is proof that you have successfully conquered and cultivated your last territory, and that you are now ready for a greater challenge and a greater inheritance. It is a sign of my trust in you as my seasoned warrior. You will learn to see a new impossibility, not with a sense of dread, but with a holy excitement, saying, I am being promoted. I am about to see my God display his glory in a new and even greater way. Your life will become a joyful adventure, a journey from one breakthrough to the next. And this pattern of victory, this life of continual breakthroughs, is all a preparation for the ultimate breakthrough. For there is one final wall that every human being must face. It is the wall of death. It is the final enemy. It is the one barrier that human strength and wisdom can never breach. But my beloved, I have glorious news for you. That wall has already been broken. When I, your king, went to the cross, I went as your champion. I faced that final wall in your place. And when I rose from the grave on the third day, I did not just find a way around the wall. I utterly shattered it. I took the sting from death and the victory from the grave. I created a breach in that final, impossible barrier, a breach through which all who trust in me can now walk. Your physical death will not be a defeat. It will be your final and greatest breakthrough. It will be the moment you walk triumphantly through the last crumbling wall of mortality and into the wide open, endless, and glorious promised land of eternal life. It will be your ultimate homecoming, the final victory parade. So, my beloved warrior, my co-builder, my child, live out your days on this earth in the light of this eternal reality. The pattern of your life is now victory. Your ultimate destiny is secure. This gives you a profound freedom. You can face the challenges of this world not with the spirit of grim survival, but with a spirit of joyful adventure. You can be a source of profound hope for others who are still cowering before their own walls. For you can tell them, with the authority of an eyewitness, that our God is a God who makes a way where there is no way. Your life is no longer a story about a siege. It is now a story about a conquest. It is a story of one breakthrough after another, a testament to the unstoppable, wall-shattering power of your God. Walk in that truth, live from that victory, and continue to build with me, knowing that no wall can ever stand against the glorious, forward-moving purpose I have for your life. And now, my valiant warrior, my wise builder, the talk of battles and breakthroughs can now give way to a season of quiet peace. Lay down your tools, put away your sword for today. Come and rest here with me in the beautiful new city we are building together. The sound of the wall collapsing is now a distant echo, a memory that brings not trauma, but a deep and abiding gratitude. The sounds of this new land are different. It is the sound of gentle streams, of new growth, of joyful laughter. It is the sound of peace. Let this peace be the atmosphere of your heart. You have been so brave. You have waited so long. You have trusted me so deeply. And now it is time to enjoy the fruits of that trust. Rest in the victory I have won for you. Rest in the safety of this new territory. Rest in the joyful promise that this is the new pattern for your life. That you will never be hopelessly trapped again. Lay your weary head down in the security of my love. I am your fortress, your deliverer, your rear guard, and the one who goes before you. You are completely and utterly surrounded by my goodness. There's nothing to fear. The future is a glorious adventure that we will face together, one breakthrough at a time. But for tonight, my beloved, there's only rest. Sleep now. Sleep the deep and peaceful sleep of a child who knows that their father has already won the war